I wasn't very good, but I had that scholarship.
I remember you.
Likewise, there's a variety of scholarships. Just do your homework and look for those things. And again, just make the call and ask the questions, because like Dr. Cudietta said, there's an amazing amount of hidden scholarships. Sometimes we don't even know that the university will call us and say, hey, do you have somebody who was born in this country? That, you know, I mean, it could be any kind of odd sort of requirement that someone left money for an endowed scholarship. We at the university, we have scholarship money now through the Bob Cole donation, but everybody has some sort of scholarship money. But I'm going to give you just a little bit of advice whenever you're accepting or not accepting or negotiating scholarships. The first thing is make sure that you know how long that scholarship lasts. You know, is it a one-year scholarship and somehow you were under the impression that it was a 4-year scholarship or a 5-year scholarship? So just be careful that you know exactly what you're getting whenever you get your scholarship and what exactly you can use it for, because there are some restrictions also on the use of scholarships. The other thing that's mentioned, I think, in a roundabout way is we have, and I think everybody has, continuing student scholarships. And what I mean by that is once you're at a university or conservatory, there are scholarships for the students who are already enrolled, so that you can be awarded performance-based scholarships as a junior or a sophomore or freshman once you're in the institution. So just because you didn't get a scholarship up front doesn't mean that you wouldn't be eligible later for some performance scholarship, that people donate money for that specifically as well.
I would, if I might, I need to add another thing to this. There are actually ethical rules for admissions officers, and one of the rules is that you have to be accepted to the school by, someone has to sign a letter, there has to be a point person to say you're into the school. And a school cannot offer you scholarship until you're accepted. And sometimes what happens in music is, like, you play for the flute teacher of a school, and the person gets very, very excited, and they say, I want to teach you. You will be in my studio, which means that they want to teach you and you would get to study with them. But it does not mean you're accepted. Until you get something in writing, we had an incident where a young woman was told she was given a scholarship, very substantial scholarship from a school in another state. And her mother said, well, don't sign the enrollment paper until we get the letter with the scholarship. And 1 month went by. And finally, the school said, well, we gave the scholarship to someone else, it's not yours. This was a horrible thing for that young woman, and it was even less ethical on the part of that school. But at least the student had not signed a commitment form because she didn't have everything in writing. So when it comes to the scholarships, you have to apply, you have to be accepted, you have to enroll, and then you get the letter saying, here's your scholarship, and then all this other advice can be really, really helpful. And the bottom line with all of this, both with admission and with financial aid, is if you don't apply, you don't have a chance. So if there's a place you want to go and you think, I can't afford this, the most important thing you have to do is apply, because the number that says, here's what the school costs up front, is not the number at the end, here's what you have to pay. So if the school costs $50,000, you might end up paying $5,000. If the school costs $20,000, you might end up paying $18,000. Which is the better deal? So I feel so passionately about this. If there's a place you want to go, you have to do that process. You have to apply. Then you have a chance. And that's what it's all about at this point.
Yeah, and the other thing too is sometimes you think you get into scholarship wars, you know, where you're bidding schools against schools, and then we don't like to do that, and we kind of get tired of it and may just pull the scholarship or, you know, not make the offer. I mean, I don't want to make it sound that it's that bad, but you know, when you start playing different institutions against each other, and I got this much here, can you give me more here? We tire very quickly of that. I'm just telling you that that's kind of the way it is, and we don't battle each other. You either like your scholarship or you don't, and you go on your way if somebody else gives you $5 more. And the other thing, you may have different offers at a different school, and at that point we're all asking you, are you going to come here, are you going to come here? And then we want a decision so that we know whether we have that money for another student. NASM was what we mentioned here. The kind of the cutoff date for all the bartering, according to the group that kind of monitors that for us, is May 1st. So after that date, if you've accepted another scholarship, you're kind of, have to be released from the other university. There's some, they're not legal rules, but they're ethical rules that we all follow in that arena.
I'd like to emphasize that you're absolutely right, but most schools are members of NASM, and they abide by those rules, and it's really very much the same kind of rules that football teams go under. I mean, there's very strict rules of what you can and cannot do, and schools do talk to one another. So the other side of that is, if you say, oh, I got a full ride from such and such a school, and you didn't, admissions officers all know one another. I mean, they talk to one another, and they pick up the phone and talk to each other. And if you're caught, we've all been in that. And if you're caught not telling the truth about something, there's no way a school wants you. So be very, very careful on that. So that whole month of April, when this all goes on, you realize that we're under ethical concerns and under rules, national rules, on what we can and cannot do. But there's a lot of communication during that time between schools. There really are. Sometimes it's finding, we have a student that we said, the student does not fit at USC, but they're really a neat student, and we'll actually talk to other schools and say they belong there. I mean, that happens all the time. So.
This might be my favorite question.